everyone. Welcome to this month's episode of the Professional Practice Series. I'm your host, Shunda Jenkins, and thank you again for joining me for another grounded conversation on the practical side of practitioner work and skills that help us serve you with clarity, alignment, and care. Today, we're exploring the topic that shows up almost every part of our work: how to share your story in a way that's authentic, ethical, and centered in service. As a practitioner, our personal experiences often shape why we do what we do. But knowing how to bring those stories into our business without oversharing or losing our boundaries. And this takes intention. So, in this episode, we're going to look at the role of story in building trust, how to structure your message in a way and how to communicate who you are without shifting the spotlight away from the people you're here to support. I'm honored to be joined by the guest, Ashley Velez. And Ashley is a storyteller and a digital marketing strategist with more than 15 years of experience helping small businesses communicate with clarity and purpose. Her work focuses on authentic connection, supporting practitioners and entrepreneurs in sharing their message in ways that feel grounded, ethically aligned, and true to who they are. Ashley brings deep skills in brand strategy, community building, and narrative design. Her approach helps people communicate without performance, pressure, or self promotion. She understands how to use story as a tool for clarity rather than a stage of for ego. So, Ashley, thank you for being here and welcome to our show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
So, so I don't know if you know this, I'm actually one of the practitioners as well. So this is kind of what I do. So this is actually going to be beneficial for me.
Good.
We've been excited to have you join us. One of the things that most practitioners struggle with, as I said, is storytelling. And so
Mhm.
we're hoping that they can take away from all of your 15 years of experience and be able to tie that into what they do on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, storytelling is really trendy right now. You're seeing it everywhere online. Oh, tell your story, tell your story. Um, but I find that meaningful storytelling is really about just resonating and connecting with your audience. It's not just being personal. And like I said, I primarily work with small business owners, solopreneurs, particularly female solopreneurs. I find that that connection is much easier, just naturally, organically, and my goal is to help show them that they can sell themselves without feeling like they have to sacrifice everything to get noticed. And so I try to share with them too that you can share who you are and what you're about without losing your core, right? And your story, you can draw your audience in without having to emotionally drain yourself, just to be heard. So, yep.
Yeah. Honestly, I think that's very important because when you are a practitioner or an entrepreneur, you're trying to look like everyone else, like not on consciously, but you're like, I want
Right.
to make sure that my marketing, that what I'm putting out there is going to attract people. So you're seeing what others are doing and you're
Mhm.
using their stuff instead of actually using your story and your brand
Mhm.
awareness so that you can communicate that so you're not looking like how everyone else videos are, everyone else copy. So
Yeah,
definitely important. So you won't, like you said, so you won't lose your core.
right, exactly. Like I said, story does matter tremendously, especially if you get into the nitty-gritty of um, who your audience is. If you have a really solid idea of who your audience is, breaking them up into Is my audience primarily male, female, non-binary? Are they, even into generationally? Am I targeting Gen Z? Am I targeting Gen X? Am I targeting boomers? I mean, they're all completely different, right? And so when you're thinking about who your audience is, being able to shape your story is very important, and it's how we recognize each other and say, I see you, before saying, this is what I sell, or this is how I can help you. Um, and so when someone visits your website, or hears your voice in a reel, or a video, or even reads your bio, they're not just judging your resume, they're sensing your relational vibe on a conscious level, right? So good storytelling, I find, acts like that neurological handshake. You feel understood here, and it builds that foundation of trust.
Wow. No, and that neurological handshake is
Yeah.
that's the first
Whoa.
time I ever
Like,
heard that. It's like, oh my God. And it's like, and it resonates with them.
yeah.
You're able to communicate in such a way that they understand you.
Yeah.
And they know, okay, this is my person.
Mm.
This is what I need to invest in. And so, um, how does someone get to that point where they understand their audience? And then how do they build trust and connection with their audience?
That's great. So I I use a lot of data to Tam knows, she's in some of my workshops, and so I look at the data, which feels completely opposite from the actual storytelling side. But in digital marketing, you have to have points that you're looking at to help you tell the story better, right? So I would suggest looking at any of the platforms that you're pushing out content on. So your website, of course, is the biggest. Where's your audience coming from? What pages are they gravitating towards, like your top visited pages? And then when it comes to your social media channels, who's engaging? And so that's how you're going to be able to tell a little bit more about who your audience is. And most of them, because they want you on their platforms, right? They're going to give you that data. They're going to go, oh, your audience is primarily female from 35 to 45, which is more or less me. And I'm like, excellent. Okay, what do they want to see? What do I want to see? Because I fall into that group myself. So creating the story based on knowing your audience, and again, figuring out based on your website, your social channels, even your email marketing will tell you a lot too. If you send out email newsletters, who's opening them, what pages they're going to when you send out that email. And so figuring out who you're speaking to. And sometimes when I find, or when I'm working with a new client, who they think they're speaking to and who they're actually speaking to, there's a bit of a disconnect there. So you want to make sure that you are actually reaching the people that you're trying to reach. And so once you really kind of target that, you can create personas, which I would love to go off on a tangent about, but you can create audience personas. And so once you have an idea, maybe two or three, then you can zero in on, okay, this is like one of my personas is a therapist. And so she's, 45, 55 years old. She's well educated. She has a good solid book of current clients, but she's looking to expand, right? And so helping her expand beyond what she's already doing is someone that I would love to work with. Um, So because again, she's well educated, she understands that it's important, things like that. So I would say looking into your data points is going to help you figure out um, who who you are telling your story to currently and help you kind of align and make sure that it's the same person that you want to hear your story, if that makes sense.
No, that makes sense because you don't want to like if I'm trying to target 35 to 40-year-old women and they're
Hmm.
educated,
Hmm.
but and I'm targeting people who are 50 plus. And
You're
my
missing the mark.
messaging is towards the wrong audience,
Right,
then you're not going to attract that 30 to 45 or and
right.
the educated or maybe the therapist. So understanding who your audience is and also
Mhm.
understanding how you're targeting them so that you're
Yes,
not targeting the wrong audience
right,
and wondering
right,
why you keep attracting these set of people instead of these set of
right,
people.
right. And that too, I find, niching down a little bit too. There's certainly opinions on whether you should or shouldn't, but I find that when you do, then your core audience, and there's less of that fear of uh oh, it fell out of my brain, the scarcity mindset, like, oh, I don't have enough clients who are going to connect with me. But when you really hyper focus on, nope, this is my group, these are my people, and they kind of organically, cosmically, just they find you because you're speaking to them. So
Yeah. And you're not worried if you're going to find because you know that these are the people that you want. And also,
exactly.
like you said, the scarcity mindset. If you are trying to attract all these people because you feel like this is not enough, right?
Hmm.
Then you're not going to attract the right people. You're not even going
Right,
to attract people at all. You might
right,
even, your books might be just empty because
right.
you're trying to grab everyone instead
Yep,
of focusing on these key people who now you know your story, they're going to benefit from it. So
right.
all you need to worry about, oh, you're not my target audience. So all I'm going
Hmm.
to do is focus on these people. So no, that's very important.
Yep.
So for someone who is new as a practitioner, right, they have to develop and actually play around with the website and understanding the data that's coming from it so that they can
Mhm.
develop their target audience.
Yes.
Okay, so with that, how do they
Yeah.
develop their story brand? You,
Ah,
what's the story brand and the framework for the brand? How do they develop and put all that together?
okay. So this is one of my favorite books. It's written by Donald Miller. Actually, he had a 2.0 expanded version come out earlier this year. So it has a couple more chapters on like digital space, so websites, email marketing, all of that good stuff. Um, And he has a couple of other books too, but this one is specifically about the story. So the story brand framework is it's roughly six different steps or six different pieces. And so it is deeply useful because it forces us as brands, as solopreneurs, to stop making ourselves the star of our story and positioning us as the guide instead. And so the formula is actually pretty simple. So a hero, which is your audience, always your audience, has a problem, internal, external, philosophical, meets a guide, that's you. But you're not the star. So you're the guide who gives them a plan and calls them to action, leading them to transformation, but not dependency. So he uses a lot of examples from movies, which are extremely helpful and shows to kind of um, really help the hero and the guide journey make more sense. And so I think probably one of the easiest and most recognized is Luke Skywalker is the hero, Yoda is the guide. Yoda is not the hero. He never wanted to be, but he's there to help Luke along the way, right? Gandalf, if you're a huge Tolkien fan, like I am, is the guide, right? Helping Frodo get to Mordor. And so when you think about it like that, really everything can shift because you're helping, again, you're helping them have that transformation at the end. And really when you think about it that way, um, it makes me feel all like warm and fuzzy, and it's like, oh, I got to help. I don't want to be the hero, but I get to be the person that helps along the way. And so as you're working through the story brand framework, there, certain things to kind of keep in mind as you're sharing part of your own story and making those connections with your clients. I would say asking a couple of handful of questions before you start to share anything about yourself. So, is this healed enough so that I don't need comfort back when I tell it, right? That's number one. Number two, does this move someone forward towards that transformation? Or does it just reveal me in kind of a raw way? Um, does it illustrate a value, a methodology, or a mission? Are the people involved protected, honored, or consenting? And then does this keep the hero external, or does it pull the spotlight inward on me? And kind of asking yourself questions like that honestly as you're doing your work will help you kind of stay in the, oh, I'm the guide. I'm not the hero. I need to be mindful of stepping into that, I got to stay in my lane in order
Yeah.
to help, right? And really just watching the connection of brands that have done this well. um it's so amazing to see, and brands that have not done it well and you're like, oh, don't do that.
Wow.
So yeah.
And I love that, like the hero and the guide mentality, because I think that as practitioners, we often want to be the hero and we want to help
Yeah,
everybody, want to
of
bring
course.
them to their healing or whatever, right? Or even entrepreneurs, we got this product and we're like, this product is
Mhm.
going to change your life and I'm going to help all of these people, right?
Mhm.
But understanding like they are the heroes, right?
Yes.
And how can we make them be the hero of their life, whether it's with our products or with our services, and
Mhm.
having them be able to not depend on us, because if we're the hero, then they're only going to depend on us, and they don't
Yeah.
think that, oh, I can go out and do this on my own. If they're the hero, they know that they can go out and do this on their
Right. Yes. Yes. Like
own.
they feel it. Oh, okay. It was in me all along.
Exactly. So I think that's very important as a lot of our practitioners, since that's who we're mainly catering to, is that understanding that we want to get our clients to a state that they're feeling like they're the heroes. So they're not able to depend on you anymore. We're getting
Mm,
them to a point where they're like, oh, this is easy. I can apply this and I don't need to
yeah.
worry about, if Ashley is gonna, help me through this. Like I know she gave me all the tools to be
Yeah.
successful. And now I can go out and actually apply this because I have everything I need.
Right. Yep.
Wow. No, I honestly, that's very important. So, as a practitioner, we have our journey, and we, especially new ones,
Hmm.
starting out, and ones that's been in the business for a long time, understanding how your personal story can illustrate your values, approach, or the type of approach, our methodology. So, without making you the hero of the story, so what are some ways that they can illustrate this
Hmm.
without making them the hero, and switching it to their clients being the hero of their
Right.
story?
So I get super way back. I was an English major, so any sort of literary, um, you know, frameworks and things, I'm like, okay, let me think about it in that way. So as I was thinking through this point when you sent it to me, I thought, oh, okay, have them think of their story like a lighthouse, right? Like a beacon, not a mirror. So you're the light out into the darkness. So it's not necessarily about making people see you, but about helping them see the path ahead more clearly. Again, there's a lot of language in Miller's book about helping them see the path, towards the end when they get um, that transformation, helping them find that path, right? And so as you're helping them see that more clearly, you're acting as that guide. So you can share personal turning points and anecdotes, sure. Choices that helped shape your approach, moments that um, opened up your philosophy, your personal way of thinking, and even things that have shaped your empathy, discipline. Um, but it should, again, according to the framework, sound something like, this is why I care about this work, or this is what I believe about the people that I serve, or this is how I guide others because of what I learned. And so those simple shifts, even the word guide in the last one, or serve in the second. This is why I care about this work. Being able to use sentences like that, and even if you have to write them on a sticky note while you're doing what you're doing, so that you can see them front and center, like, oh, right, this it can help you stay in that mindset when you're crafting copy, when you're working on a reel or an email newsletter, like having those pieces right there can help you kind of stay in that mindset. So
Wow.
thinking about it again as you're the beacon, the lighthouse, and not like that kind of mirror image.
Yeah. Like
Hmm.
you're not like the person who's guiding their life. They're guiding their own life. You're just shining
Right.
light so they can continue to
Yes.
see the path
Yes.
ahead.
Yep.
So that they know, oh, I can do this journey. Like, oh, there's the light. Let me just keep going.
Hmm. Yep. Like little, what
Little
are like,
points, little
yeah.
little nuggets along the way. Oh, okay. Oh yeah, I
Hmm.
remember that. Oh
Hmm.
yeah, I remember what
Yes.
my guide told me. And
Yes.
so, wow, I can conquer this. I can
Hmm.
get through this.
Hmm.
Wow. And just the language, understanding how we use our language is very powerful, because like you said, even just switching those words and just using,
Yes.
this is why, how I guide others, are, just thinking about why this work is important. And
Hmm.
instead of like, oh, I help others get to achieve,
Yes,
I
right,
using, like, you putting it back on yourself.
right, right. And it's so easy. It's so
It
easy to
is
slip
easy.
to slip into that. Even, for me, anything that I do, I'm like, nope, nope. Okay, how do I switch this and make sure that I'm the guide and helping them along? Um, yeah,
Wow. No, I mean that's one thing that I learned as a new practitioner in the beginning. Like they wanted me to write out, I help people, and then your copy start to look like, I
I.
help you achieve this transformation so that you
Hmm. Yep.
and you might get clients that way, but like there's gonna be some clients that are gonna be like not drawn to that type of content.
Right. Right. And instead, you could say clients, swap it, even just start the sentence with my clients feel, achieve, whatever goal you want for them, as a result of, you know, the work that I do. Um, Explore how you can achieve XYZ also.
Yeah.
And so that little bit of copy change, taking yourself out of it. Oh, well, I want the thing. I want the transformation. I'm going to click on this button and see what the next step is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, honestly, even the energy of what you said versus the energy of the first sentence, it's
Right.
just it's just more softer
Yeah. Yep.
and it feels more connected.
Yep.
I was like, okay, I want to book a call.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, so as a practitioner, as we know, how do we share our story in a way that's authentic without oversharing
Hmm.
or even creating unhealthy boundaries?
Right. Oh, boundaries. Mm. I personally, I love Brene Brown. She talks a lot about, I'm sure many of you are very familiar with, her work on vulnerability and boundaries. And so I certainly get that, especially with what you guys do. It's so deeply personal for you and for the people that you serve. And I would say that boundaries are good. They're not about avoiding vulnerability, because you do still want to have that, but they are about keeping things relevant, keeping the hero on track to complete their journey. Thinking about it as, how do I make sure that I can share a little bit and connect with the hero, but also keep them on the path, and they don't stray from that. So through certainly self-awareness, and sharing a little bit of your own story without exploiting, maybe, that might be the I think that might be the right word, anybody else along the way, like anybody that's in your story. So thinking about it as sustainable storytelling in a way that is sharing but keeping you centered. So what I tell my other clients is share share the part of the story that gives orientation, not obligation. And so, if a story makes someone feel like, oh, I need to hold you now, it might be a little too much, right? But if a story makes someone think, oh, you get me, you understand my world, and I want to learn from you, that's more on point. And so it's that delicate balance of, you know, making the connection without going, oh, I went a little too much into the hero, or even, oh, the martyr. And you're the slow, steady guide. You're the connector that's like, I see you, I've been there, and I can help you.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's not about pulling them deeper down into their mess
Right.
or putting them on a path that's not even for them. Because we
Right,
brought up
right,
our own stuff that was unrelated to, like, is this going to really help them? But I'm bringing it up, even though it's not even going to help them.
right, right, right. And so kind of if you think about it in a um uh like stoplight, right? Like you've got green, you've got yellow, and then you've got red, like nah, 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 nah. So green, you can share past challenges, absolutely, lessons that you've learned, and kind of steer clear of the raw emotional caretaking. You're good. Check, go. Yellow, purposeful, powerful. You're still focusing on the audience transformation, which is that ultimate goal. You're really like, okay, you could go still. But then, thinking about it, if you're starting to spill out unprocessed trauma, details that may like invade other people's privacy, or stories that need emotional reciprocation, you in danger, girl. Go back to the green. Like again, think about it as nope, nope. Okay, I am the guide. I am the guide. I am Yoda. I am Gandalf. I am whoever your character that you can relate with the most. Doesn't have to be either one of those. But kind of centering you back in. Oh, okay. No, I am Gandalf. I am Yoda. And that can help. And it's gonna happen. We're all human. I've gotten into the red zone and gone, oh, no, no, go back up. And the beauty is that, you can fix it. You
Yeah.
can fix it. And yeah.
Wow. No, I like the way you use that reference of like the stoplight where it's green,
Yeah.
yellow, red. Hold up. We need to go back up to the green or the yellow because we're getting into areas where we might have some unprocessed trauma, or we're making ourselves the center of it. We're making ourselves the hero,
Yeah.
and this is not about us.
Right.
It goes back to understanding that we are the guide, and that
Hmm.
if we have that mentality, right, we're not going to go into the oversharing, into,
Right.
you know,
It kind of keeps you from, or organically keeps you from doing that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's, I mean, that's the same with like our ego. Sometimes your ego might show up
Oh, yeah.
and you're
Hmm.
wanting to like, oh, this helped me, and I know how to help others, and you know, and as a practitioner, whether you're new or you've been in a game for a while, like you start to see the promotion of others, and it start to be like this ego promotion of themselves. You're like, oh, I need to be like that.
Right. Yes. Oh,
How do you ensure your storytelling doesn't have that ego mentality and is more community focused?
So ego storytelling wants recognition, right? Me. But service storytelling wants resonance,
Yeah.
connection. And so thinking about it, even just like that, ego storytelling wants recognition. Look at me. Look at these things that I've done, these things that I've been through, these things that happened to me. It's that kind of slippery slope into martyrdom. But service-based storytelling just wants connection for the sake of connection and to help. And so when you're the guide, your storytelling should circulate strength. It should offer clarity, confidence, build belonging, that safe space, reflect a shared truth, and extend that hand forward, not inward.
Mhm.
And so the most powerful brand stories shouldn't say, feel for me. They should say, I understand you, and here's the way.
Mhm. Wow. I mean, that's definitely powerful. Because I mean, that's what we want to like any client that's investing in something, we want to know that we're understood.
Yeah. Yes. That's the basis of human connection, right? Is
Yeah.
to be seen, to be heard, to be understood, just like
Yeah.
I want my little, my little
A
group.
little 5-year old I just want to be
Yes.
heard. Just want you
Right.
to hear me and see me.
Yeah.
Wow. And listen to me because that's very important.
Yes. Just be oh gosh, one of my favorite writers, retreat leaders, humans on the planet,
Yeah.
Jen Pasteloff. She just calls it that, well, I mean, it's not, I know it's not hers specifically, but just that being held, right? Just being able to sit in a room of other humans and say, you are safe to let this out, to let this go. You're not going to be judged, and you just the heaviness of it, let it go.
Yeah.
And I the first time I truly experienced that was I went on one of her retreats in 2017, and I thought, oh, this is different from anything I've ever, the first, I guess, person that I had ever worked with any sort of, healing practitioner vibe at all. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is magic stuff, like true magic stuff. So yeah, and it's the feeling was, I understand you. You're safe here. And here's the way that you can move forward safely, securely. Um, yeah.
Wow. I mean, I think that's what every client wants to know that they are like understood and like they feel safe
Mm.
in your presence because if not, they're not going to open up. They're not going to share everything because
No.
they're like they're holding it in. They got these boundaries and they're like,
Yeah.
I don't know if I can trust this person. So I'm going to tell
Mm-mm.
them a little bit,
Right.
just enough for them to like get me to this point, but I'm not going to open up because I don't trust this person.
Which I imagine, given the work that you do, makes your job harder. Like if they're
Yeah.
not, if you don't feel safe to them for whatever reason, and they're not sharing like a nugget that could really help you help them,
Yeah.
it's like that weird catch 22 where you can't, yeah, you're unable to do your best work.
Exactly. And a
Hmm.
lot of practitioners do a lot of body work, or
Yeah.
they're, energy therapy, sound baths. So you're not like if you're not safe in that environment as a client,
Oh, yeah, you're
you're
not.
gonna all that stuff is just gonna be held in, and you're not gonna be able to release what needs to be released.
Yes.
You're gonna just walk away the same way you felt when you walked in.
Hmm. Yep.
So this gets into ethical considerations.
Mm.
How do we maintain professionalism when it comes to consent, integrity, when it comes to referring clients, our personal healing experience, our like sensitive content. So how can we as practitioners adapt that ethical consideration and maintain professionalism?
Yeah. Ugh, such a great question, especially given, you don't ever know if somebody's going to come back and be litigious, or, you covering your CYAing your work as much as possible. So I would say if a story involves someone else, a client, a family member, a case study, or a healing experience that touches others. You know, it's more of a better safe than, you know, sorry, uh, mindset. And so, always get consent where needed. Written ideally, and giving them or sharing the stories with dignity, with everybody's dignity intact. And de-identification, changing names, ages, when referencing clients, of course, and no unprocessed personal details that require that emotional care back. So like, kind of backtracking into that same mindset that we're trying to not focus on. So, um, really, at the end of the day, thinking about those things, um, trust with clients and with anyone uh, should feel earned, but not extracted. And so, really thinking, I mean, again, obviously, written consent ideally, or verbal if you're able to grab it in a recording or something, but thinking about the the dignity, not the dignity specifically of other people involved, and changing names, important information, birthdays and things like that. Um, Thinking about it in that way, I think will help steer you towards those ethical considerations when you're telling stories of other people. Um, so
No, I think it's very important when you say the dignity part because, like, it's not about me
right,
turning it back on myself,
right.
making the other person,
Hmm.
part of my story feel, like they only wrong me and I want you to feel bad for me
Right,
and I want, I'm trying to get something from my client. It's really not helping them to tell you that, oh, this person wronged me and I went through all of this. I got trauma from, and your client's like, how in the world is that going to help me?
right.
Is this session about you or is it about me?
Yeah.
So understanding that. And then when you're talking about the other person, not really saying their name,
Yeah.
changing
Leaving
the
that out.
name or
Yeah.
even like saying, this person,
Yeah.
did this. Or I was in
Yeah.
a situation where this individual, instead of like referencing names, because
Right.
again, that person can come back to say, hey, you talked about me on with a
Yeah.
client, that was unprofessional. They can try to sue you, or, you never know what might happen. And plus,
Right.
that's not nice to the person that you're sharing experience that you have with them. So again, it comes back to dignity and integrity whenever we're
Yeah.
sharing in our sessions with our clients.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
So, what are some ways that a practitioner can adopt the storytelling across the different platforms? As you know, social media is big right now, and it doesn't matter what business you have.
Yep.
Social media is going to be very important for the growth for your business. How do they share their story using social media, workshops, websites, even their bio,
Yeah.
um, so they can keep their message cohesive.
Hmm. Um, this is what I love to do. So, the I would say that the implementation is where the story becomes part of your marketing strategy, but it still maintains that human element. So, we can start with bios. So I would say or suggest 2 to 3 sentences as you're working through your bio that teach that position you again as that guide, that teacher, that lead, that not so much leader because that's kind of falls into that slippery slope. But if you maintain the thought process of the guide, that helps with the transformation that you provide. Um, so really, I mean, using the story brand framework in your bio, your you have a hero, whoever your hero is. They have a problem. You offer them a solution as the guide, and kind of thinking through that story brand framework can help you create um, a bio that will resonate with the story brand framework. And if you use tools like ChatGPT or others, you can actually say, I need help writing a bio, and you can always edit it later. I recommend editing it later. That uses Donald Miller's Building a Story Brand framework. This is what I do. This is this is who I help. Can you help me walk through the story brand framework with my bio? And then that gives you a starting point. And really the same is true for any of the other platforms or channels that you operate in. So the website framework too. So here's the problem, here's the plan, here's the transformation, and I am the guide who can help you get there. And then in social media posts, you can use micro stories that position your client as the hero, you as the guide. And always climbing that I guess proverbial ladder to the same core beliefs. The hero has a problem. Well, I guess it would go up. Hero has a problem, meets a guide, has the transformation. And then in the case of like if you're doing workshops or guest appearances, using the story, your story to open the door, start the conversation. But then the strategy that surrounds it becomes becomes the scaffolding, I guess. And so if you're trying to think through how you're going to implement that across every platform, which can be very overwhelming, websites and social and email marketing and all of the other things. So I recommend landing on 2 to 3 core narrative truths, and then figure out, again, using any tools that you prefer at your disposal, um, telling them 50 different ways. One, because people gonna forget. You got to tell them the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And even if you're tired and like, I feel like they should know this, the whole point is somebody else may know this, but you may hit a new person who doesn't know you at all, and oh, and so you got to keep telling that same story over and over again. But that 2 to 3 sentence core narrative, using the story brand framework. Um, and what that also does is it makes you more trustworthy overall. So if somebody goes to your website and they see one type of messaging, then they go to, your Facebook or your Instagram channel and they're like, "What? Is this the same person?" It creates confusion. You've lost them. They're like, "I don't, am I, is this, I don't know if if this is the same person." And so they are going and they're exploring you. They're looking on your YouTube channel. And again, if you don't have that same cohesion across every platform, simplistically, you risk losing them.
Yeah. Wow. That is definitely a good point because if your website says like I do all these things, but online I only do this thing, or it's really about having that consistency
Hmm.
across all platforms. Because
Yep.
again, as we know, it's the internet. You can lose people because
Yeah.
there's so many people who are doing things unethically. And
Hmm.
so when we're looking as a client is looking, they're looking for consistency.
Yep. Yep.
Because consistency creates safety as well.
Yes. Yes. Right. Hmm.
Wow. And that becomes you being authentic,
Hmm.
and authenticity becomes like part of the strategy.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
so and then people can recognize that you have this realness about yourself, and
Hmm.
that you're not doing this for a tactic, right?
Right.
And
Yep.
then that's a reflection of alignment in self-awareness in your brand voice.
Hmm. Yep.
So
Absolutely. Authenticity should not be a marketing tactic.
yeah.
It's instead thinking of it as a composure signal, right? So telling your audience that you've done enough internal work to share honestly, but kind of keeping yourself in check, right? Like
Yes.
emotionally and spiritually, and you're like, oh, I've got this, grounded.
Yeah.
And so when you look to other brands and I would definitely suggest pinpointing other brands that you connect with and thinking about why. Um, but the most memorable brands typically feel grounded, right? Curious, steady, generous, confident, but not loud. And
Yeah.
that's like there's that grounded confidence. And if you're thinking about, how to present yourself in that way, I think that the authenticity that you're searching for is just gonna organically be there. It's not going to feel forced. People can tell.
Yes.
They get that kind of like, I don't know why I'm getting an ick. I don't know yet, but there's an ick and I can't place it.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, honestly, I get the same thing because like as a practitioner, I'm always investing in myself and wanting to learn things, or even just investing in my own healing and understanding like, does this feel authentic? Does it feel like it's forced? And sometimes I'll be on like something and I'll see like, okay, this some reason this is not connecting with me, but I don't know why.
Hmm.
And so that's the same thing with our potential clients. They might see your content and say, this is not resonating with me, and I don't know why, but it seems
Yep.
like they're doing really good stuff, but I don't know why I don't want to invest in them.
Hmm. Yeah, and especially people who are, you know, tuned in or who are learning to kind of tune in to that intuition, that like little voice, like, oh, I don't know. Yeah.
Because that's how honestly, we make decisions a lot with our heart and our
Hmm.
gut, especially like
Hmm.
those emotional decisions.
Yeah.
Not our analytical decisions, but more of our
Right.
emotional connections. I feel like we feel it in our heart, at least for
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
And then I feel it in my stomach. And
Yeah.
so if something doesn't feel right in those areas, I'm like, this is not for me. And even if it seems amazing, I just know my body is communicating that this isn't right for
Mhm.
me. And so understanding that that's how our clients is picking it up. Like our potential clients, customers that we want to invest in our business, they're tuning into their intuition, or they're
Yep.
feeling something but don't know why they're feeling something if they're not fully tuned in.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, I don't want to invest in Ashley. I don't know why, but I just don't want to invest in her,
Yep.
her business.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So wow, just being able to be authentic and not be so, be confident and out loud is really, it's going to help you
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
attract the right people. And then when it comes back to our storytelling, how we tell
Mm-hmm.
in our story, understanding that we are not the heroes. We are the guides. And if we
Yes.
can understand that, we're able to create our bios.
Mm-hmm.
That translates across all our platforms, because if we start to look at our bio,
Yeah.
okay, we can start making our website, we can start
Right.
making our social media, we can it can carry over into our workshops,
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
and that keeps our message
Mm-hmm.
consistent. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think that's one of the biggest things I took from this interaction, is that I'm not the hero, honey. I'm just a guide, and as long as I understand that,
Mm-hmm.
I'm able to attract the right people
Mm-hmm.
that need my work.
Yeah. Or even if you think of it as you were talking, even if you think of it as I get to be the guide.
There we go. Changing that, and it's the language, really.
Yeah. Yep.
Like I get to wake up and do this type
Yeah.
of work.
Mm-hmm.
I
I
get to
get to
have these
help
type
them.
of
Yes.
people in
Mm-hmm.
my life,
Mm-hmm.
these type of clients, these type of customers. Wow. Ashley, this has been amazing.
Oh,
Any final words you want to add that, I didn't like ask, or you feel like it's going to be helpful before we wrap it up?
yay. Let's see. Well, okay, so if nothing else sticks, I would say stories are powerful when they guide without expecting anything in return. And when they respect other people, they uphold that dignity, that integrity, and always make the person that you're helping along the way the hero, then you're you have a great roadmap to attract the right kind of people that you want to help, that you want to guide, and you should, as a result, connect with those people. They will find you. Um,
Yeah.
so,
Thank you for being our guide
oh, thank you for
today.
having me. Really, I'm so grateful to share and to help, and so yeah.
Thank you. We're grateful for you for sharing your insights and your experiences with us today, because your approach to storytelling is very clear, is very grounded, and it's rooted in the client hero, like the hero guide perspective, right? And it brings so much guidance to a topic that many practitioners struggle to navigate. So thank you for that. Um, So today we explore the role in building trust, how to share your personal experience without slipping into oversharing, and how to keep your message aligned with your values and your purpose. We also talk through ethical consideration, practical ways to use stories across your platforms, and the importance of authenticity that comes from self awareness rather than performance. So, thank you to everyone that joined us for this conversation today. We hope it supports you in finding clarity and balance as you communicate who you are in the work you offer. So next month, we'll be joined by Haley Jones for a conversation on the art of self-healing while holding space for others. This is a thoughtful exploration on how practitioners tend to themselves while remaining in service. So we appreciate you for being here. Take good care, and we'll see you in the next episode.